Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming MCS exams happening in November 2025. My name is Nick and I'm one of the lead tutors for MCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, as I promised in last week's webinar, I'm going to take you through the exam blueprint, thereby explaining what the examiner expects from you. And most importantly, as the second part of today's webinar, I'm going to share some tips which will ensure that your confidence level will increase significantly. And also, I will explain stress management techniques because, as I mentioned in last week's webinar, whenever you are attempting a mock exam, you are supposed to do it under exam conditions with the prime intention of practicing your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. So you learned answering and time management techniques in last week's webinar. So in this webinar, I'm going to teach you how you should handle your stress levels, which is essential to pass this examination. And talking about the weekly workshops we have scheduled for you. So this is the final webinar, and we are kickstarting our workshop series next Saturday. And in each of these workshops, Jared, our co-tutor, will be taking you through each pillar, F2, P2, and E2. And at the same time, Jared will take you through a mock exam, thereby conducting a masterclass concerning your F2, P2, and E2 syllabi. And in the final workshop, which happens just 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be sharing last minute tips with you to make sure that you have the capability of performing really well at your exam. Because if you believe in yourself, if you're confident about your skill set, you can easily pass this exam. And let's try to understand what the examiner tells us. So I've taken these screenshots from the exam blueprint. So if you are to develop good answers, let's try to understand what you are supposed to achieve. First things first, the marker is going to look at the relevance of your answer to the requirement. So it's essential that you develop an answer which is 100% aligned with the requirement. So with this in mind, I shared some tips with you in last week's webinar. If you missed it, please go watch it because it's a crucial webinar. So whilst teaching you answering technique, I highlighted the fact that you are supposed to, before you develop your answer plan or before you structure your answer, you are supposed to reiterate each requirement in your own words in a simpler manner. So you are supposed to do this with two objectives in mind. You are supposed to simplify the requirement, first things first, with the intention of gaining a clear understanding of what you are expected to cover in your answer. And the second objective of simplifying the requirement is to make sure that you have access to a simplified requirement, which makes your life easy when it comes to structuring your answer, because halfway through your answer plan, if you want to check whether you are headed in the correct direction, whether your answer is aligned with the requirement, you can easily refer back to a simplified requirement and in a jiffy check out whether you are developing an answer which is 100% aligned with the requirement. So that is exactly what the examiner expects from you. So when developing answers, your answers should be 100% aligned with each requirement. So with this in mind, before you develop your answer plans, you are supposed to simplify each requirement in your own words. And when developing your answers, you should display to the marker that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge, and also you know how to apply the conceptual knowledge which you have gained via your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. So your theory knowledge as well as application will be tested at this exam. So with this in mind, with the intention of teaching you all theoretical elements and making sure that you gain an understanding of how to apply these conceptual elements when developing your answers, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas across the 6 mocks which we have developed. And at the same time, based on the same mock exams, we have developed masterclasses. And if you want to learn theory and application in one single place, simply watch the masterclasses. Then in a jiffy, you will learn how each conceptual element can be tested at the exam. And at the same time, you will figure out how to work on application, because when conducting our masterclasses, we are taking you through the answer plans which we have developed focused on each mock exam. So when you go through these answer plans and when you watch these masterclasses, you can easily overcome your knowledge gaps and at the same time learn application. Because if you try to learn theory on your own by watching a set of videos which are intended to just teach you conceptual elements, yes, you will learn theory, but you will have to figure out application on your own. So rather than trying to figure out application on your own, it's better to watch the master classes and go through our answer plans. Then you can easily understand how each syllabus area can be tested and how you should approach application concerning each conceptual element. And the examiner expects you to develop well-structured answers. So that is why the answering technique which we taught you in last week's webinar becomes crucial, because most students out there, right after reading through the scenario, they start typing the final answer. And halfway through the answer, they figure out that they are headed in the wrong direction, or they have committed a mistake. And because of that, they end up deleting the entire answer and they have to start from scratch. So when this happens, you know for a fact that you have wasted time unnecessarily. So because of that, you will try to rush the process with the intention of saving up some time. And when you try to rush the process, you can't think properly, especially when you are operating under exam conditions, when you are operating in a time pressured environment. So it's essential that you stick to the answering technique which we highlighted in last week's webinar. So as per what I mentioned, you are supposed to dedicate something like 20 minutes to develop an answer plan focused on all subtasks which appear within a section. And once you are satisfied with your answer plan, then you should move towards expanding your entire answer in paragraph form. So do not listen to us, listen to the CIMA examiner. The examiner wants you to structure your answers properly. That's why before you finalize your answer or before you develop your final answer, you need to structure your answer or develop an answer plan, spend some time to think. And once you have planned out what you should include within your answer, then you are supposed to expand each point in paragraph form. So your final answer should be in paragraph form. You are not supposed to provide answers in bullet points or in say as single line sentences. Instead, your final answer should be in paragraph form. I explained all these things in depth in last week's webinar. And whenever you are bringing out some type of an argument, it could be a recommendation, you have to justify your arguments and recommendations. Because just because you are recommending something, the board is or the senior finance manager is not going to be convinced. So it is your job to explain as to why you are recommending something. So that is why you are supposed to provide justified recommendations simply because of the fact that your recommendation is accurate. If an appropriate justification is lacking, you are not going to get any marks, even when the recommendation is accurate. So whenever you are recommending something, always make sure to back it up with appropriate justifications. So that is why you need to spend some time to think and plan out your answer, come up with a logic concerning your answer. That is why you need to make sure that you have the capability of developing answer plans within just 20 minutes per section. So if you are clueless of what I'm talking about, it appears that you have missed last week's webinar. Please go watch the recorded version, which can be accessed via our student dashboard as well as our YouTube handle. All right, so these are the things which you need to achieve if you are supposed to get good marks at your examination. And then let's look at what the examiner expects from you before the exam. So before the exam, you are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So I've seen tutors out there saying that certain conceptual elements cannot be tested at this examination, which is not true. Anything which appears within your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi can be tested at the examination. So when conducting your preparations, it's essential that you attempt 6 mock exams, because if you are planning to pass this exam by attempting just 2 or 3 mock exams, you are walking into the exam with knowledge gaps. Because if you are clueless of how certain conceptual elements can be tested at the exam, then you are going to struggle. Because as you would have experienced by now, you should have at least attempted mock number 1, which is available under the free courses, and you can attempt mock number 1 via the exam platform under exam conditions. So if you had attempted mock number 1, you would have understood that in certain subtasks, the examiner is not directly mentioning a conceptual framework by name. Why is this the case? Because as I've mentioned throughout this webinar series, the examiner intends to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you are receiving an email from your superior. So when your superior is sending an email to you, he or she is never going to talk about a conceptual element. Instead, your knowledge will be tested in a practical manner. So when assisting your superior, when conducting your evaluations, when coming up with your recommendations, if you are to develop the best type of responses, you need to utilize the conceptual knowledge which you have gained via your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. So that's why it's essential that you study all areas of the syllabus. That is why we are sharing 6 mock exams, and we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas so that you are well aware of how each syllabus area can be tested. And at the same time, you will also understand how to structure your answers, which points to include concerning each conceptual element to gain the most amount of marks. So do not skip any topics when conducting preparations. I'm not the person who is saying this. It is the CIMA examiner who is asking you not to skip any syllabus areas. And also, you should work on your application skills significantly because, as you know, 50% weightage is provided towards testing your conceptual knowledge or theoretical knowledge, and 50% of weightage is provided towards testing your application skills. So if you do not work on your application, you will end up developing answers which are too theoretical. And if so, you are not going to pass this exam. So as a finance manager, your job is not to explain theories. Instead, your job is to develop responses, come up with evaluations, come up with recommendations, utilizing the conceptual knowledge which you have gained via this study process. Because if you are capable of doing it, you deserve to become a finance manager, and you deserve to walk into the strategic stage. It could be strategic OTQs, or it could be, if you're under an exemption route, it could be the strategic case study. So if you want to proceed to the strategic level, it's essential that you work on your application skills. Why am I saying this? Because at the SCS stage, things are entirely different. 80% of the time your application skills are tested, whereas just 20% weightage is provided towards testing your conceptual knowledge. So at the SCS stage, you are directly reporting to the finance director or the CFO of your board. So because of that, you are involved with the long run decision making of your chosen organization. So your application skills, your decision making skills are heavily tested. So you have to fine tune these skills at this stage. If not, you are not going to pass MCS, and also you are not going to proceed to the SCS stage. And even if you pass the MCS with marginal marks, and if you have not fixed your application issues, you are going to repeat the SCS exam over and over until you fix your application skills. So at this stage, take steps to fix your application. With this in mind, we have developed master classes, because as I mentioned earlier, in these master classes, whilst teaching you the conceptual element covered within each mock exam, within the same video, we are teaching you application. So rather than you having to figure out application on your own, you can easily learn application, easily learn how you should structure your answers. And that's why we have painstakingly developed these master classes. So go watch them to improve your application skills, especially if you are coming through an exemption route, especially if you had failed previously. And at the same time, take steps to revise your knowledge right after attempting each mock exam. Revise your knowledge by trying to redevelop answer plans on your own, and compare your answer plans to TCSs to further refine your application skills. And when attempting mock exams, you are supposed to practice tasks. And when it comes to practicing tasks, you are supposed to type or write full answers. So what are full answers? At the exam, if you had gone through a mock exam, you would have already understood this. At the exam, you have to sit in one place across 3 hours and attempt 4 sections, one after the other. So a full exam consists of 4 sections. So when attempting your mock exams, you have to attempt all 4 sections, one after the other, just like what you do at your real exam. Because when dealing with students, what I've understood is, there are students who will take breaks between sections when attempting mocks. So for instance, let's assume a student is attempting mock number 1, and mock number 1 consists of 4 different sections. So a student will attempt the first section today, the second section tomorrow, the third section day after tomorrow, and whatnot. But at the exam, you cannot take breaks. You have to sit in one place across 3 hours and attempt all 4 sections one after the other. So if you are not exposed to the type of stressors which you'd encounter at your exam, then you are going to struggle at your real examination. So it's essential that you are exposed to operating under a time pressured environment across 3 hours, because when you do so, you will realize the fact that you will be somewhat comfortable with the first 2 sections, but in sections 3 and 4, fatigue sets in. Due to fatigue, you will be exposed to extreme levels of stress. Extreme levels of stress leads to brain freeze. So you have to encounter all these problems right now when conducting preparations, rather than facing them for the first time at your real exam. So that is why the examiner expects you to type or write full answers. So if you are planning to pass this exam without attempting any mock exams, you are gravely mistaken, because it all comes down to however much theories you know. You are not going to pass this exam, because all your success comes down to you having access to mock exams and taking steps to practice them under exam conditions, because it's essential that you refine your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And also it's essential to conduct revision focused on the same mock exams with the intention of significantly improving your application skills. So I'm not asking you to do this. It is the CIMA examiner who is recommending you to achieve these things. So if you are yet to start your preparations, you still have time. You still have 4 weeks at your disposal, a full month. So if you commit yourself, if you start your prep right now, you can attempt all 6 mock exams, and at the same time, you will have enough time to refine your application skills by conducting revision, which is to redevelop answer plans focused on the same 6 mock exams. So do these things, and if you stick to these guidance, you are definitely going to pass this exam comfortably. All right, then during the exam, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to plan your answers. So that is where our answering technique comes into play. So in last week's webinar, I mentioned the fact that you are supposed to dedicate 20 minutes of your time in each section to develop something called an answer plan. So that is exactly what the CIMA examiner is telling you. Because if you do not take steps to plan your answer, you are not focusing on the quality of your answer. It's essential that you take some time to figure out, okay, what is this requirement? You need to understand each requirement clearly. So with that in mind, I said that you are supposed to simplify each requirement. So after you have understood each requirement, then you need to realize what you should include within your answer. So it takes some time for you to figure out the number of points which you should include and what these points should look like. So that is exactly what you do at office. So when you get an email which carries a lot of information and carries a lot of requirements, or when you receive a tough assignment at work, what would you do? Will you jump the gun and start typing your response straight away? No, you will spend some time to structure your response, to figure out whether you have addressed the requirement properly, to figure out whether you have considered everything which appeared within the email which you just received, or the scenario, the information which is contained within the scenario. And at the same time, you will try to figure out, you will definitely have to spend some time to figure out whether your answer is of the utmost level of quality. So that's exactly what you need to replicate at this exam. That is why the examiner wants you to plan your answers during your exam. And if you are to plan your answers within just 20 minutes, focused on all subtasks which appear within a section, then you need to practice this technique. So just because you learned the answering technique, just because you know for a fact that you are supposed to develop an answer plan within 20 minutes, if you do not practice this technique when attempting mocks, you will never have the capability of developing an answer plan within just 20 minutes. So it's essential that you practice it, because if you practice this technique, you will be in a position to successfully implement it at your real exam. If so, you will develop well-structured answers, high-quality answers, and at the same time, you are never going to run out of time at your real exam. And looking at what the marker is expected to achieve, the marker, the individual who is marking your paper, is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So your marker is not going to look at the length of your answer. No one is going to be concerned about the word count. Instead, the marker is going to look at the quality of your answer. That is why you need to master the answering technique. That is why you need to master the application skills. If not, you will come up with an answer which is not really aligned with the requirement, or the quality of your answer might be inferior. So I've heard tutors out there saying that in order to gain an X amount of marks, you need to type an X amount of words, which is absolutely wrong, because as per, we have to listen to the CIMA examiner. The CIMA examiner says that the markers are marking your paper based on the quality of your content, not the quantity. So in order to ensure that you develop a high quality answer, it's essential that you develop an answer plan, that you have the capability of developing an answer plan within 20 minutes. So in order to achieve this status, you have to keep practicing the answering and time management technique, which we preached in last week's webinar. All right, so that's what I intended to share with you, thereby taking you through examiner's comments, which I've taken from the exam blueprint. All right, then having said that, before we move on to the second and third parts of today's webinar, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the MCS page. If you are yet to create a free user account, click on this button and create a free account. And once you have created a free account, you'd gain access to the student dashboard. So click on this button and click on My Courses. And in front of MCS Free, you'd see an Access Content button. Click on it. Once you click on it, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops which we have conducted. And also under the study material tab, you'd gain access to the answer plan of mock exam 1, the pre-scene mind map, and the MCS pre-scene document. Also under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and answers of mock number 1. And under the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock number 1 under exam conditions in its entirety via TCS's exam platform. So we have made sure to develop an exam platform, which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you'd attempt your real exam. So this is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques by attempting mock number 1 under exam conditions via our exam platform. So make use of these free resources on offer by creating a free user account. And if you're interested in, investing on our paid content, click on this button and check the sample material before you do so. And if you're yet to join our MCS WhatsApp group, click on this button and join it. Via this group, we will give you instantaneous support as and when needed. And also, you will be kept informed of the weekly webinar and workshop commencement dates and times. And at the same time, we will be sharing some free resources with you via this WhatsApp group. So if you need tutor support in an instantaneous manner, join the MCS WhatsApp group by clicking on this button. And talking about what we offer 2 packages, the Essential course and the Premium course. So the Essential course is designed for those who have completed their CIMA OTQ exams. So this is designed for those who have completed their E2, F2, and P2 OTQs. So since you have completed your OTQs, you are well aware of all conceptual elements which will be tested at this exam. So when conducting your preparations, your job is to take steps to improve your application skills. So with the intention of ensuring that you have the capability of improving application skills, we have included some resources under the Essential course. So under the Essential course, you would gain access to the recordings of the weekly webinars and workshops, 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So as I mentioned earlier, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas within these 6 mock exams. You will also gain access to pre-scene analysis videos. And once you have watched these videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your pre-scene. You will also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, industry analysis, and financial analysis slides. Let me quickly show you what these resources look like. So we have come up with tutor annotations with the prime intention of summarizing the most important points which appear within the pre-scene, and at the same time we have indicated probable exam scenarios which can be tested, and tied to these scenarios we have explained the examinable syllabus areas. And when developing our mock exams, we have made sure to cover these exam scenarios and syllabus areas. And we have also developed a set of slides, thereby conducting an industry analysis. So you need not waste time to gain a good understanding of the industry. We have covered this element. So in the first part, we have defined the entire industry. In the second part, we have explained about industry trends. And in the third part, we have highlighted challenges and opportunities a typical company which operates within your chosen industry faces. And at the very end, concerning a real life company, we have explained how a real life company operates within this industry. And also we have evaluated the financial statements. So we have evaluated each financial statement in depth, yet making sure to keep things simple so that you can easily gain an understanding of the financial performance of your chosen company. So we have evaluated the SOPL and the SOFP, and also we have conducted a ratio analysis, thereby comparing your company's performance against its closest competitor so that you'd get a better understanding about the financial standing of your chosen company. So these are the resources on offer under the essential course. You'd also gain access to top 10 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at the exam. And once you have gone through our case study familiarization kit, you will gain an in-depth understanding about the technicalities behind your exam. You will also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you have knowledge gaps, or if you feel that you cannot remember a certain conceptual element, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards to brush up your OTQ knowledge or theoretical knowledge in a jiffy. So the essential course is priced at £249. And talking about the premium course, this premium course is designed for those who are coming through the exemption routes and for those who had failed the exam previously. So both these students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the prime intention of teaching you all conceptual elements which can be tested at the exam, and at the same time teaching you application, we have included some additional resources under the premium course on top of what appears under the essential course. So under the premium course, you'd also gain access to the online mock exam platform, on which you can attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. You will also gain access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams. Let me quickly show what these answer plans are. So we have developed answer summaries which are aligned with each of our mock exams. So this is the answer plan concerning MCS mock exam 2. So rather than you having to go through pages and pages of suggested answers, and rather than you having to figure out the logic behind each answer, what type of points you appear within the answer, how the answer is structured, rather than you having to figure out all these things on your own, when you have access to these answer plans, you can easily see how the answer is structured, the logic behind the answer, and at the same time you can easily figure out how conceptual elements and pre-seen information had been brought in, and which is the best way to, when you understand these things, you can easily improve your application skills. So this helps you with revision as well, because after attempting each mock exam, we expect you to conduct revision. So when you are revising your knowledge, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans on your own. So after going through these answer plans, keep it aside and try to redevelop the answer plan on your own. And after you have redeveloped the fresh answer plans, compare them to TCS's to further figure out what your shortcomings are, to figure out whether you are still missing out on certain points, or whether you have the capability of replicating TCS's answer plans. Because if you can cover all these points which appear within our answer plans, then you will get extremely good marks at your upcoming examination. So all these are on offer under the premium course. Also, you'd gain access to 20 masterclasses. So you saw how we conduct masterclasses in last week's webinar, because I took you through one of the mock exams, thereby conducting a masterclass. So in these masterclasses, we try to achieve 3 objectives. Objective number 1 is to take you through the logic of each answer. and at the same time teach you the conceptual element covered within each mock exam, also to teach you application. So you can learn theory as well as improve your application skills by watching these masterclasses, and these masterclasses are therefore aligned with each of the mock exams which we have developed. And you all also receive tutor feedback on mock number 4. So these are the type of feedback on offer at TCS. As you can see, we have evaluated each and every paragraph, each and every point with the intention of highlighting your shortcomings, because without you understanding your shortcomings, you will keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. So that is why we provide in-depth tutor feedback, and you can see the type of feedback on offer. And at the very end, we have provided mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis, and we have also indicated a success rate. And you have to, after receiving feedback with the intention of improving your chances of passing the exam, with the intention of improving your skill set, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans. And when redeveloping answer plans, focus your attention towards the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow, because these denote the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. So that's the type of revision you can conduct based on our feedback if you opt for the premium course. Also, there's on-demand tutor feedback on offer as well. If you want tutor feedback after receiving tutor feedback concerning mock number 4, if you feel that your marks are extremely low, or you have a lot of shortcomings, if you feel that you need additional feedback for mocks 5 and 6, you can opt for additional feedback at £50 per mock exam. So all these resources are included under the premium course, and the price of the premium course is £699, which can be paid in 2 installments of £349 each, or if you pay in full, you will save £100. If so, the price is going to be just £599. So all products are available until the 28th of February 2026. So if you are planning to sit for the exams happening in Feb, invest right now, so that you have some additional time to focus your attention towards revision, which is crucial to pass this examination. And let me quickly take you to the original 8-week MCS study plan, which can be accessed via the same web page. So as per our study plan, I know for a fact that some of you are adhering to the study plan. So as per the study plan, we are in week number 4. And within this week, you are supposed to dedicate 9 hours of study time. And in this week, you are supposed to master mock number 3. So you are supposed to attempt mock number 3 via the exam platform, with the intention of practicing your answering, time management, and stress management techniques under exam conditions. And then watch the 4 master classes. This is where you'd learn your theory and application and how to logically structure your answers. Once you have learned all these things, once you have learned the logic, the theory, and application, then test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans. Do it leisurely. You need not time when you are redeveloping answer plans, because the objective of redeveloping answer plans is to refine your knowledge, to improve your knowledge, and refine your answering technique. So therefore, don't time when you are redeveloping answer plans. Instead, do it on your own with the intention of improving your skill set. And once you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare them to TCS's to understand what your shortcomings are and further improve your knowledge levels. So that's how you should approach this examination. And if you are already adhering to the study plan, kudos to you. Keep up the good work, because if you're adhering to the study plan, it's simply a matter of attempting a mock exam per week and conducting revision focused on the same mock exam. Once you have mastered mock number 3, then in week number 5, you can focus your attention towards mastering mock number 4. All right, so that's what you are supposed to achieve. I hope, if you're yet to start your preparations, I hope you will start at least now, because you have full 4 weeks at your disposal, which is enough and more time if you commit yourself. After this webinar, via the WhatsApp group, I'm going to share a study plan with you, a 4-week study plan. So if you're yet to start preparations, stick to the study plan. By doing so, you can easily pass this examination. All right, so then moving on to the last part of today's webinar, I said that I'm going to share some tips which will ensure that you develop your confidence, because you have to remain confident and positive in the upcoming 4 weeks. Because if you are negative and if you crumble under pressure, this is a pressure, you will be exposed to extreme levels of stress and pressure during these 4 weeks. When you're moving closer to the exam, your stress levels will be through the roof. So it's essential that you calm, confident, and positive in these 4 weeks. So what are you supposed to do to be calm, confident, and positive? First things first, you need to stick to the study plan. So if you are already adhering to our original 8-week study plan, which was explained in the first webinar, and you saw that you can access the same study plan via our website as well. So if you're sticking to it, keep up the good work. Do not give up. Even if you think that you didn't do a good job when attempting the first 2 mock exams, that's quite all right. You are still getting your bearings with the answering and time management technique, which you learned last week. So this week, when you are attempting mock number 3, implement the same techniques, keep pushing forward, and because you will definitely go wrong when attempting mocks under exam conditions. However, these problems can be fixed when you watch your master classes and take steps to revise your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans. Because always remember, the objective of attempting mocks under exam conditions is not to improve your knowledge, but to make sure that you practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And the objective of conducting revision is to fix your knowledge gaps and to improve your answering technique, improve your application skills. So you are supposed to take steps to improve your skill set when revising. And when attempting mock exams, your job is to practice technical elements concerning time management, answering, and stress management. So stick to the study plan. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're yet to start prep, don't worry. After this webinar, I'm going to share a study plan, a 4-week study plan with you. So if you stick to the study plan, you will feel confident when you are drawing closer to the exam, given the fact that you have completed mock exams as per our study plan. So you know what I'm talking about. Those who have already completed the first 2 mock exams, definitely you are feeling confident compared to someone who is yet to start preparations, because you know for a fact you are done with 2 mocks. There's only 4 mocks to go. And if you keep repeating the same process, you know for a fact that you are going to learn all conceptual elements. You are going to significantly improve your application skills. You will significantly improve your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And when you fix all these elements, or when you look at all these elements and take steps to improve them, you are definitely going to be successful at your upcoming exam. So if you don't have a study plan, you have to start preparations right now, especially if you're planning to sit for the exams happening in November. Don't wait until the last moment, because if you do so, yes, you will have time to attempt the 6 mocks, but you won't have time to conduct revision. So sticking to the study plan is essential. And also it helps to stick to a routine. So if you are not a person who is sticking to a routine usually, at least in the upcoming month, try to stick to a routine, because it's not easy to balance your work as well as education. So it's essential that you take steps to stick to a routine. And if you do so, you will have enough time to spend on work as well as in fulfilling your education needs. So try to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time. And if you can't wake up and sleep at a predetermined time, fix your daily meal intake. Have your breakfast at a predetermined time. Have your lunch as well as dinner at predetermined time intervals. And if you do so, you will definitely fall asleep on time, and which you're falling asleep on time enables you to wake up on time at a predetermined time as well. So this routine is going to help you to manage your workload. If not, you are going to struggle a lot, because if you're not sticking to a routine, if you're not waking up on time, you will end up wasting a good chunk of your morning. And because you woke up late, you'd have a late lunch, and therefore you'd start your preparations somewhere around 3 or 4 p.m. And throughout the day, since the time you were up, you will be constantly thinking about, okay, I have to attempt a mock exam. What am I supposed to do? When am I supposed to start it? I have to brush my teeth. Should I skip it? Should I skip my breakfast and find time? So all these type of negative feelings and complex feelings, you'd be exposed to all these type of negative feelings when you wake up late. So it's essential that you wake up early, wake up in the morning, so that you can dedicate your effort towards preparations in the morning. And if you can maybe attempt a mock exam before lunch, if you're not working, that is, if you can attempt a mock exam before lunch, then you will feel extremely confident about the fact that you have achieved something early in the day. So you can do so. And if you're into work, you might be struggling with mock attempts, given the fact that you need to dedicate 3 hours at a stretch, which is not too easy, because if you're working, you have to wake up at about 7 or 8 a.m. on a daily basis. And let's assume you are waking up at 7. If you have to attempt a mock exam, then you'd have to wake up 3 hours before that, which is going to drive you nuts. So if you are working, focus your attention towards attempting the mock exam towards the weekend. So during the weekend, on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can dedicate 3 hours without any problem. So attempt the mock during the weekend, then take a break on Monday. Watch the master classes to learn theory and application. Skip Tuesday, and on Wednesday, redevelop answer plans. So come up with your own method. You can do so as long as you stick to a routine. If not, you are going to struggle a lot to manage your time. And also, when practicing mock exams, it's essential that you practice under simulated exam conditions or real exam conditions. That is why we have invested on developing an exam platform, which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system, to make sure that you have the opportunity of getting your bearings with exam conditions, that you have the opportunity of attempting each mock exam under exam conditions. And when attempting mocks, attempt in isolation. If you have kids at home, close your door, don't let them come in, sit in one place across 3 hours, just like at your real exam, and try to give your best shot and practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And stick to the exam technique routine, which I taught you in last week's webinar, which is to dedicate 5 minutes of your time in each section to read, and then dedicate 20 minutes of your time to develop the answer plan, and dedicate the remaining time in each section, which is 15 to 20 minutes towards expanding your answer plan in paragraph form. And as I mentioned earlier, without practicing this technique, you are not going to be in a position to implement it in a successful manner at your exam. So when attempting mock exams, keep practicing this technique. You will struggle at first, but by the time you are done with mock number 3, by the time you are starting mock number 4, you will see a significant improvement in the way in which you are structuring your answers, and as well as how you are managing your stress levels and how you are managing your time. So this, when you know for a fact that you have up to a certain extent mastered the answering technique, this leads to positive thoughts, and positive thoughts leads to confidence. Then you will start believing in yourself. So without putting in the effort, you can't be confident, because you know for a fact, in the back of your mind, you will always constantly keep telling yourself that I've not attempted any mocks, I've not revised, I've not stuck to the study plan, so there's a lot on my plate. How am I going to find my time? All these types of thoughts will go on in your head. So in order to avoid such a situation, start work. And when you work, there will be some type of you will experience some type of positivity, and this positivity goes a long way, because you'd feel confident each week. When you master a mock exam, you will feel confident about the fact that you have learned something, about the fact that you have improved your skill set. And when you keep moving forward in this manner, by the time you are done with all 6 mock exams, you will be fully confident about your knowledge levels, about your application skills, about your ability to manage your stress levels, time, as well as about your ability to develop answers in a successful manner. When this is the case, you are going to be extremely comfortable at your exam, because if you are positive before the exam, you are going to be positive during the exam as well. On the other hand, if you are stressed before the exam, if you are feeling negative before the exam, if you are doubting yourself, you are definitely going to screw up your exam, because you are going to doubt yourself. You are going to question yourself, question the logic of each of your answers, And when you are questioning yourself, if you're not too sure of what you should include in your answers, you are going to repeat this examination. So stick to this guidance, which will ensure that you improve your positivity, improve your skill set. And when you keep improving your skills on a weekly basis, you will be confident at your exam as well. All right. So having said that, let's move on to, I'm going to teach you how to manage your stress levels when attempting mock exams. So if you had attempted a CIMA case study examination, it could be the OCS exam, or it could be a previous MCS attempt. You know what I'm talking about. You will be comfortable in your first two sections, but from section 3 onwards, you'd start to struggle. And there's a tendency for some students to give up, especially in section number 4, because it's not too easy to sit in one place across 3 hours, operate under time pressured under a time pressured environment, and keep repeating answering time management and stress management techniques over and over across the 4 sections. So fatigue sets in section number 3. When fatigue sets in, you will be stressed. Stress leads to panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. So I'm going to explain as to why students panic when they are exposed to stress, and when you experience stress, why it leads to brain freeze, because I'm going to talk about how your brain, how the human brain functions, and then talk about what you need to do to make sure that your brain functions without any hiccups when you are exposed to stressful situations. All right, so first things first, the first tip about managing your stress levels is not trying to multitask. So remember, you are operating in a time pressured environment. So when you're operating in a time pressured environment, if you try to multitask, your brain will ask you to take a break. However, at the exam, you cannot take a break. That is when you panic, and that is when panic leads to brain freeze. So what you need to do is, when developing your answers, you are supposed to come up with the most rational type of answers. And if you are to think in a rational manner, you are supposed to utilize the front part of your brain, or the prefrontal cortex. So if you are to come up with the best type of answers, you have to be rational. If you are to be rational, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex. However, if you look at a normal human being, the prefrontal cortex can be used for something like 45 minutes, not beyond 45 minutes. So this is a problem. You can only overcome this by improving or expanding the size of your prefrontal cortex, because this is a muscle. Just like you build a muscle by going to a gym, you can build this muscle. You can increase the size of the prefrontal cortex. If so, you are in a position to focus on something beyond 45 minutes. But we normal human beings, looking at our normal brains, we are not in a position to focus on something for more than 45 minutes, because then your prefrontal cortex is overworking. And when it is overworking, the prefrontal cortex switches off, and the brain functions will shift to a small part of your brain, which is known as the amygdala. All right, so when the amygdala is in play, this is when you panic. So you have to ensure that you are not overworking your prefrontal cortex. In order to make sure that you are not pressurizing your prefrontal cortex so much, you have to stick to our answering technique. Why am I saying it? Because as per our answering technique, you are not expected to multitask. Instead, you are supposed to focus on reading first. And once you are done reading, then you have to focus your attention towards planning. And once you have developed your plan, then you should focus on typing. And therefore, you can clearly see that we are not expected to multitask, because when you are operating in a stressful condition, a stressful environment, if you try to multitask, your brain is gonna go wonky. So you have to make sure that you maintain your brain functions properly. That is why you should not try to multitask at the exam. That's why it's essential that you stick to this 3-step process in each section. when addressing each and every requirement which appears within your paper. And if you stick to this 3-step process, as you can see, in the last 15 to 20 minutes, when you are supposed to expand your answer plan in paragraph form, it's as if you are allowing your prefrontal cortex to rest. Why am I saying it? When it comes to reading, there's a lot of information which you need to gather from the unseen. And when you are planning, you need to think about how to structure your answer, how to bring in pre-seen info as and when necessary, how to develop an answer which is totally aligned with the requirement and the unseen's info. And at the same time, you have to think about what type of conceptual elements should be brought in with the intention of coming up with the best type of an answer. So there's a lot of effort which you are putting in when you are developing the answer plan. But when it comes to typing, since you have already planned your answer, you know what to include in your answer, because when it comes to typing, it's simply a matter of expanding each answer point in paragraph form. So when it comes to typing, you are not expected to think. It's not as stressful as reading and planning. So therefore, it's as if you are taking a step back and letting your prefrontal cortex relax, because you need not really think anything. It's simply a matter of you have already thought what you should include within your answer. So when it comes to typing, it's simply a matter of expanding each answer point in paragraph form. So if you stick to this technique, you're not trying to multitask, and at the same time, you are letting your brain, your prefrontal cortex rest towards the last 15 to 20 minutes of each section. So once you're done with a certain section, and when you're letting your prefrontal cortex rest for 15 to 20 minutes, then it's as if you are starting fresh when you are in your subsequent section. So it's essential that you stick to this answering technique. And in order to be in a position to practically implement it at your exam, you have to practice this technique whenever you are attempting our mock exams. Just because you know this, you are not in a position to implement it successfully at your real examination. So even after doing this, even after sticking to this answering technique, especially after section 2, in sections 3 and 4, you will experience some type of stress due to fatigue setting in. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you consider a normal human's brain, we are supposed to take a break. We are supposed to rest our prefrontal cortex after 45 minutes. So at office, if you are feeling stressed, you can take a break. You can walk off from your cubicle. You can have a chat with your colleagues, or if you are into drinking tea or coffee, you can do so, or you can smoke if you are into smoking cigarettes. So you can do all these various different things to take your mind off work, or to take a break and ensure that your prefrontal cortex is resting. But at your exam, you can't do so. So when you try to pressurize your prefrontal cortex too much, when you try to fight these stressful situations rather than taking a break, then your brain functions will shift from your prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. And when the amygdala is in play, this is when you will experience a fight or flight response. A fight response is a situation where your brain is asking you to fight the stressful situation. So when you try to fight a stressful situation, and when you are clueless of how to fight a stressful situation under exam conditions, this is when you will panic. And when you panic, it leads to brain freeze. Brain freeze is a situation where nothing goes into your head. You are trying to develop an answer, nothing comes to your mind. You are trying to read through a scenario, nothing goes into your head. You are stuck in one place. This is when you'd get extremely emotional. When the amygdala is in play, when the amygdala is in full swing, people become extremely emotional. And at the same time, I've seen when I was doing my exams, I've seen the students crying during the exam, or sweating profusely, or feeling extremely cold. So you will encounter all these stressful situations given the fact that your amygdala is in play. So at the exam, I said that when the amygdala is in play, you will be exposed to a flight or fight response. So you can't take flight from a stressful situation. You cannot avoid a stressful situation. If so, you'd have to walk away from your exam. If you end up failing your exam, so you can't take flight. Instead, you have to fight a stressful situation. And the only way to fight a stressful situation in a successful manner is to take steps to switch off your amygdala. Because if you switch off your amygdala, brain functions will shift back to your prefrontal cortex. So if you have to come up with the best type of answers, you have to be rational. In order to be rational, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex. But when you are exposed to stress levels, or when you're exposed to fatigue, your brain functions will shift from, or when you are overworking your prefrontal cortex, your brain functions will shift from your prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. And when the amygdala is in play, you will panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. So you have to take steps to fight the stressful situation, and this can only be achieved by switching off your amygdala. And how can you switch off your amygdala? You have to close your eyes for 2 minutes and focus on your breathing. So when inhaling, count to 3 slowly, and when exhaling, count to 3 slowly. Do this in a continuous manner across 2 minutes. When you do this, you are effectively taking steps to refresh your brain. Therefore, brain functions will shift from your amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. It's essential you do this. If not, if you let your amygdala win, you are going to face this. You are going to fail this examination, because in this exam, the examiner is not just testing your theory knowledge and application. The examiner is also testing whether you are in a position to manage your stress levels. So the only way to overcome these stressful situations is to focus on your breathing and get out of such stressful situations. So as I mentioned earlier, the only way to get out of stressful situations is to switch off your amygdala, and the only way to switch off your amygdala is to focus on your breathing. So when attempting each mock exam, I want you to practice this technique. Whenever you are feeling stressed, focus or close your eyes and focus on your breathing for 2 minutes. Inhale through your nose. When doing so, count to 3 slowly, and exhale from your mouth. When doing so, count to 3 slowly. Focus on the counts for 2 minutes. If you do so, you can keep fighting and moving forward. And most students who end up scoring extremely good marks at their exam, they manage their stress levels, especially when they're in the last 2 sections, when fatigue sets in. So these type of students, what they do is they adhere to this best practice, which is to, let's assume you are done with section number 1. Before you start with section number 2, you will see that the timer keeps running down from 45 minutes. Don't worry about the timer. Focus on your breathing for 2 minutes. Close your eyes. Count to 3 slowly when inhaling through your nose, and exhale from your mouth. Again, count to 3 slowly. Do this practice in the first 2 minutes of each section. If you do so, it's as if you are taking steps to refresh your brain and ensure that you are utilizing your prefrontal cortex once more. And when you are in a position to utilize your prefrontal cortex, then you will come up with the best type of answers. And also, you are taking steps to avoid unnecessary stressful situations. All right. And it helps to hydrate yourself as well. So if you are attempting the exam at an examination center, you can have a water bottle with you, because when you are drinking water, you are taking in some additional oxygen, which is going to help your brain functions. However, in certain examination centers, some invigilators won't allow you to have a water bottle. Then you can't practice this. And especially if you are attempting the exam at home, you can't have a water bottle with you. So you cannot rely on hydrating yourself. So the only way, the best way to overcome a stressful situation is to practice the technique which I taught you right now. So from this point onwards, whenever you are attempting a mock exam, whenever you feel stressed, I want you to practice this technique. And at the beginning of each section, if possible, dedicate 2 minutes of your time and take steps to refresh your brain. You might be thinking that I'm asking you to waste 2 minutes of your time at the beginning of each section. If you do this, it's as if you are gaining 10 minutes. Why am I saying it? Because when you take steps to make sure that you are thinking through your prefrontal cortex, you are well poised to be involved with rational thinking. And when you think rationally, you will come up with high quality answers. And in your day-to-day lives as well, whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel extremely emotional, practice this technique. you will be amazed about what you are going to experience. I personally practice this technique, and I've been practicing this technique for an extended time period. So this is actually meditation. So because of that, I'm in a position to focus on something for more than 45 minutes at a stretch. So a normal human being can only, as I mentioned earlier, can only focus on something for just 45 minutes at a stretch. But I can go, for extended time periods, given the fact that I've practiced meditating. Because as I mentioned earlier, this is a muscle, your brain is a muscle. So if you look at your skull, there is a gap between your skull and your brain. And due to this gap, if we take steps to improve the size of our brain, since this is a muscle, we have the opportunity of improving the size of our brain, and this can be achieved via meditation. So you cannot meditate for extended time periods because you only have 4 weeks until your exam. So at least when attempting each mock exam, whenever you feel stressed, practice this technique to come out of stressful situations. Because if you do not manage your stress levels, you are going to freeze at the exam. And if you freeze, you are going to fail this examination. So last week, I had a chat with so many individuals who ended up failing the MCS exam previously. And when I asked them, most of them said that they froze halfway through the exam or towards the last two sections of the exam. So this happens due to the fact that you have not tried to manage your brain functions. So, without practicing this technique, you are not in a position to implement it all of a sudden at your exam for the first time. So practice this technique when attempting each mock exam. If so, you are in a position to effectively implement stress management techniques which you learned at your examination. So by now, you have learned three techniques: answering, time management, and stress management. I want you to practice these three techniques over and over whenever you are attempting a mock exam in order to be in a position to successfully implement them at your real exam. Okay. And if you are attempting the exam at home, please go to this link and get your bearings with how the Pearson VUE system works. I'm going to share this link after this webinar. And I'm happy to say that we achieved a 90% pass rate in the previous sitting. And, almost all the students who adhered to our study plan ended up passing this exam comfortably with flying colors. So you still have time. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share a 4-week study plan with you. And if you adhere to the study plan, you are going to achieve a similar feat. You are definitely going to pass. So it all comes down to you learning your theories and applications. So we have tackled both these elements via the mocks, the master classes, and the answer plans. And also, you need to refine your skill set. So when it comes to refining your skill set, that is where discipline comes into play. So we have covered theory and application. And if you take steps to learn theory and practice application by sticking to our study process, then you are effectively taking steps to improve your skill set. So when you know your theory, when you know how to apply this theory, and when you have improved your skill set, then you are definitely going to pass this examination. That is why almost all of our students ended up passing in the previous sitting. And having said that, I'm moving to the Q&A. So if you have questions, you can switch on your mic and talk, or drop us a message via the chat. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks. So thank you very much for those questions. I hope I addressed all your concerns. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours. And if you want to email us, you can do so via info@study@tcs.com, or simply drop us a message via WhatsApp so that you can reach me and seek instantaneous support. And I urge you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops are uploaded to our YouTube handle. And via TikTok, you'd gain access to 6 videos, which is a good pre-seen mind map. So on your way to office, for instance, on a daily basis, keep watching these 6 TikTok videos to constantly keep yourself reminded of the most important points which appear within the pre-scene, and also utilize this document. We have already shared this document with you via the WhatsApp group, which is the pre-scene mind map, and you can download this document under the free and paid content via our student dashboard as well. So read through this document on a daily basis to make sure that you understand, or sorry, you remember what appears within your pre-scene on the day of the exam. And also, if you're yet to read the blog post which we have developed focused on Ressett, click on the blog page and read through this article. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the 4th webinar. So we are done with the 4 webinars, and from next week onwards, we are kickstarting our workshop series, which will be conducted by our co-tutor Jared. And I hope you will start preparations. I hope you will, stick to our study plan, which I'm going to share with you in a little while. So if you're already adhering to our 8-week study plan, don't confuse yourself. Keep doing what you have done in the previous 2 weeks. But if you're yet to start preparations focused on you, I'm going to share a 4-week study plan with you. I hope you will stick to it. And if so, you need not worry about passing this examination, because it all comes down to syllabus coverage and you improving your skill set. We have covered the syllabus elements. You can improve your skill set when you take steps to revise your answering time management, stress management, and revise your knowledge levels. So if you are committed, you can pass. And I hope to see you guys next week at the first workshop, in which Jared is going to take you through your F2 syllabus and discuss a mock exam concerning your F2 syllabus. So thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next week. See you and take care.